Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Brittany. I'm the one team of the RISE team that will present a RISE innovation model. Good morning, distinguished judges and respected panel members. Fiscal risks do not always appear as crises. They build quietly across regions, often unnoticed, from inefficient spending to rising local debt and increasing exposure to shocks. This risk can ultimately threaten national stability. Today, we present ARISE, Adaptive Regional Integrated System for Fiscal Resilience, a transformative approach that enables governments to anticipate risks, not just respond to them. Let us show you how Arise is building stronger, more resilient region. Please enjoy our presentation. And firstly, let me share you my presentation. Okay, this one. Arise, building an integrated subnational fiscal risk system for resilience and anticipatory government. And this is the background. So the study shows the evidence of subnational fiscal risk affect central government fiscal sustainability. This slide summarizes global evidence showing that subnational governments, while less frequent sources of risk, can still create significant fiscal burdens for central government. Based on study of 80 countries, bailout of subnational governments cost on average 3.7% of GDP, and in extreme cases can reach up to 12%. So the chart on the left shows that the macroeconomic shocks and financial sector risks are the most costly and frequent, but subnational risks also appear as a notable source of contingent liabilities. And the table on the right highlights that amongst 239 fiscal risk events globally, there were 19 subnational cases with an average fiscal cost of 3% of GDP. The key message is that even though subnational risks occur less often, their potential fiscal impact is large enough that central governments, including Indonesia, cannot ignore them. And this slide explains why Indonesia now needs to broaden its fiscal risk framework to include risks originating from subnational government. First, the structure of regional revenues shows high dependence on transfers from the central government. This means any fiscal stress at the subnational level can quickly transmit upward and burden the national budget. And also, the imprudent fiscal management at the regional level can disrupt public services and potentially create liabilities that the central government must ultimately support. Subnational entities are also exposed to macroeconomic shocks such as inflation and commodity price shifts or exchange rate movement, which may reduce their revenue base and increase expenditure needs. And past crises, including the COVID-19 pandemic, have shown that the regional fiscal shocks can significantly increase pressure on the national budget. We also observe persistent issues such as slow and backloaded budget disbursement at the regional level, which hampers service delivery and local economic performance. Another concern is rising subnational debt. Average regional borrowing reached around 9.7 trillion rupiahs over 2018 to 2022, up from 2.6 trillion rupiahs in 2018. The data that we get from 2018 to 2023 also shows that the absorption tends to peak late in the fiscal year, particularly for capital expenditure, indicating planning and execution risks that need to be monitored. International evidence reinforced this concern. For example, Debug and Pine 2001 demonstrate that fiscal transparency is correlated with higher foreign direct investment, highlighting how governance quality affects economic outcomes. All of these factors underscore the need to integrate subnational fiscal risk into the national fiscal risk management framework. On this timeline shows how Indonesia's fiscal risk management framework has evolved over the past 2 decades, largely driven by major crises and lessons learned, starting from the 1997 Asian financial crisis and the multidimensional crisis in 1998. Indonesia realized the need for stronger financial regulation and better oversight. The Karaha Bodas arbitration case in 2000 further highlight exposure to contingent liabilities. And the early 2000, Indonesia strengthened its fiscal and financial governance as it completed the IMF recovery program. The key milestone came in 2007 with the establishment of a dedicated fiscal risk management unit in the Ministry of Finance. This was followed by expanding the scope of risk management in 2015 and the formalization of comprehensive fiscal risk regulation in 2021 to 2022. Since 2008, fiscal risk reporting has been mandatory in the presidential regulation. And for the framework, start with step 1, risk identification, where we categorize risk coming from 3 main sources. First, macroeconomic shocks such as commodity price volatility and climate events. Contingent liabilities like subnational debt and international weakness, including limited capacity, rigid financial management, and lack of transparency. And the step 2 is the risk assessment, which look at how these risks translate into pressure on revenue, expenditure, and financing. For example, declining local revenue, increased reliance on transfers, delayed spending creates cost overruns, and financing risk emerge from widening deficits or failures in loan repayment. And step 3 is risk mitigation, where each risk is translated into a risk register, followed by assessment and mitigation strategies covering revenue, spending, and financing aspects. And the step 3.1, this one is the ensure the confirmation of through integrated monitoring and evaluation, making sure mitigation action are signed with policy goals. And the second step on the step 3 is policy response and risk adjustment, where the central government adjusts policies or provides support depending on the risk level. The finally step 4 is risk disclosure, which ensure that subnational fiscal risks are transparently reported, strengthening accountability and enabling early intervention. Together, these steps form a complete cycle for identifying, assessing, and managing the risks. And the second part is how we explain the integrated subnational fiscal risk system for resilient and anticipatory governance, which includes two parts. First is DARA, Regional Fiscal Risk Monitoring Dashboard, and the second one is budget stress testing. And this one is the initiative of the initiative of a highly complex country with 546 regions, making manual monitoring and fiscal risk impossible. To address this, we developed the Subnational Fiscal Risk Monitoring Dashboard, or DARA, which serves as a hub for assessing regional fiscal risks that impact the national budget on an economy, and it integrates with national fiscal management systems. It continuously improves through automated risk assessment. Looking ahead, Dare will evolve into a standalone model, ensuring transferability for local governments, standardization of risk assessment, and customization for regional conditions. This dashboard is a key step forward efficient monitoring and better decision making in managing fiscal risk across Indonesia's diverse regions. And this slide, is the estimating the impact of slow back and loaded disbursement in economic. It highlights the key fiscal risk of subnational level led backloaded budget disbursement, especially for capital spending. To quantify this risk, we developed the regional expenditure pattern index, which measure the deviation between actual monthly spending and ideal spending pattern. The quantification is done by calculating the area under the curve, for both the ideal and actual patterns using the trapezoid formula. And the closer the actual area is to the ideal area, the better the spending pattern. For non-capital expenditure, the index matches 91.5%, indicating reasonable alignment with the ideal trajectory. For capital expenditure, however, the index is only 24.6%, clearly showing that a large share of capital spending is pushed to the last month of the year. This quantitative approach allows us to move from anecdotal observation to measurable risk assessment, showing exactly how much inefficiency exists. Economic estimates then link these spending patterns to outcomes. For example, 1% improvement in the capital expenditure pattern index raises GFCF GDP by 0.21%. Improvement in personal goods, services, and other expenditure also strengthen government consumption GDP. The key takeaway is that the poor spending time is not just a procedural issue. It has measurable economic costs, and quantifying these patterns help guide more targeted policy responses. And also this one is growing trend of subnational debt and repayment risk. And this slide shows the rising importance of subnational borrowing as a fiscal risk. Internationally, many countries have experienced cases where local governments were unable to repay their debts, forcing central governments to step in. This risk profile is relevant for Indonesia as well. Domestically, subnational borrowing has increased, averaging about 9.7 trillion rupiahs over the last 5 years, compared to 2.6 trillion rupiahs in 2018. The spike in 2020 to 2021 reflects the regional PAN loan program during the pandemic. But more importantly, we are now starting to see early stress signals. Several regional governments have requested loan restructuring in 2024 and 2025. These pressures could evolve into contingent liabilities for the central government. So continuous monitoring of both debt growth and repayment capacity is essential to prevent future fiscal risk. Okay, now this is the measurement of debt risk, and this slide explains how we monitor subnational debt risk on a monthly basis. Traditionally, debt risk assessments rely on annual balance sheet data, which means potential problems are detected too late. To enable more frequent and forward-looking monitoring, we modify the fiscal health formula using cash flow-based LRA data. On the liquidity side, we track indicators such as a current ratio, and quick ratio and cash ratio to understand whether short-term obligation can be met. On the solvency side, we access longer-term debt sustainability through debt to equity ratio, debt to asset ratio, and debt to capital ratio. By adapting these formulas to monthly cash flow data, we can identify emerging stress earlier and trigger timely interventions before risk materialize. And this slide highlights a critical gap between the disaster-related losses and the limited reserve fund available. Over the past decades, Indonesia has faced average annual losses of about around 21 trillion rupiah, as shown on the left. Yeah. Uh, However, on the right, we see that the average allocation of the disaster reserve fund from 2012 to 2022 is only about 5 trillion rupiahs. And this gap becomes evident during the major disasters such as Lombok and Sulawesi earthquake in 2018, where losses far exceeded available reserves. To address this challenge, the new initiative of disaster risk financing is currently being developed in the collaboration with UNDRR. This aims to strengthen financial resilience and ensure sufficient resources when disaster strikes. And this is the new initiative disaster risk assessment and explain the design of our disaster risk assessment framework. It starts with the CAT model, catastrophic model. Yeah, it is developed by the Institute of Technology Bandung (ITB), which has been upgraded to include not only government infrastructure but also private sector impacts. The result from this CAT model fit into the new macro fiscal model jointly developed by the Ministry of Finance and UNDRR. This enhanced model now includes subnational entities, improving reliability. A key innovation is the inclusion of preventive investment, allowing us to measure how investment in prevention reduce disaster risk. Finally, the model incorporates a disaster pooling fund as a financing mechanism, helping the divine appropriate contribution for each subnational government. Together, these components create a comprehensive approach to managing fiscal risk from disaster. Okay, this is the fiscal risk development timeline in MOF in Indonesia. And in the future, the innovation that we propose will strengthen through more advanced risk assessment methodology, including spatial analysis for fiscal and disaster-related risks. And it will help local government to conduct self-assessment of their risk management practices. And it also help the central government to control, to evaluate, to monitor both of the regional risk, also for the national risk, because a lot of regional governments depend to central government. So that's what we present today. But before we end this presentation, I will show you the mock-up of this RISE innovation. Like the mock-up is firstly just for the risk overall. This one is our dashboard, which has a lot of information here, and also the measurement of the average of all the risks that we calculate. And this dashboard also has 4 type of menu of the risk that we see, and also for the DARA inefficiency belanja, it means that the spending inefficiency risk, we see that we monitor the overall risk from the province, the high level risk from province, also the very low risk of province in based on the spending inefficiency risk, and this is also the spending pattern. We can calculate and measure the inefficiency because of the spending pattern, which is very late month is really wider, because the deficit is really wider, because uh, the more the more longer the period, also the disbursement, also the bigger. So this is the phenomena which is not efficient. So we can recommend the strategies of mitigation. And also for the risk of contingent, and we can also measure the disaster risk. As we mentioned and we explained before, we have the risk mitigation model, which combine of the catastrophic model and also the macroeconomic model. We can know the exposure of the model and the impact of the disaster risk. Disaster, when the disaster happen, it will impacts all the facilities like airport to the state-owned building. And as we mentioned before, we include infrastructure, government building, and also the private sectors building. So besides, we can calculate and measure how big the impact of the disaster, and with the metrics that's the same with spending inefficiency. And also we can know the impact of the macroeconomic to the regional budget. We can know how this disaster can impact the reduce of the revenue of regional budget, also capital, and also the deficit that will be increased because of disaster. So the regional government can allocate some portion of the budget for the risk mitigation of disaster. And we can also have this efficiency that we also have mentioned. This is the risk contingency. So we have all the data and the graphic as well, so we can know the trend of the contingency risk. And we know the debt risk of the regional government, and we can also know how much the level of the risk of contingency in regional level. So we have the report of the regional financing, and we have the notes that it will be continued, or it will have to be reported quarterly, or is just completed the administration or something like that. So we have some period, and also the level of the province, it's complete with the districts in Indonesia. So we will know, and we can control, and we can give the suggestion for the local government to mitigate the risk, and also increase the quality of the regional financing management. So that's our innovation of ARISE. And we thank you for the opportunities to us to presenting the innovation. Hope we will get the good output for this innovation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.